A retired U.S. Air Force general, a man who once had access to every single classified secret in America, vanishes without a trace. And nobody is talking about it. What did he know? Where did he go? And why is the FBI already involved? Stay right here, because what you are about to hear will shake you to your core. His name is William Neil McCasland, Major General, mit PhD, the man who literally oversaw every single top secret program the United States military ever ran, from satellite reconnaissance to space-based weapons to things so classified they don't even have public names. And on February 27th, 2026, he disappeared. Just like that. Gone. And before you leave this video, I need you to think about something. What kind of man goes missing and immediately gets the FBI involved on the very same day? Drop your answer in the comments right now, because this is going to get very, very interesting. Let's start from the very beginning, because to understand why this disappearance is so chilling, you first have to understand who this man truly is. Not just a retired general, not just some old soldier. William Neil McCasland is one of the most strategically important human beings to have ever walked the halls of the Pentagon. And that is not an exaggeration. That is a documented fact. McCasland was born around 1957. He grew up in an Air Force family. His father, Lieutenant William H. McCasland, was a military man, and he was killed in a flying accident when William was still very young. Think about that for a moment. A little boy who loses his father to the very skies he will one day be tasked with militarizing and protecting. His mother eventually remarried another airman, Lieutenant William R. Casey. So from the time he could walk, this man's entire world was the United States Air Force. It was not just a career for him. It was blood. It was identity. It was legacy. And what a legacy he built. McCasland attended the United States Air Force Academy, one of the most competitive and prestigious military institutions in the entire world. He graduated in 1979 with a Bachelor of Science in Astronautical Engineering. That alone would be impressive for most people. But McCasland was not most people. He went on to receive a full scholarship from the Hertz Foundation, one of the most competitive science and engineering scholarships in America, and attended the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, where he earned a master's degree in aeronautical engineering in 1980. He then returned to MIT in 1985 to pursue a PhD in astronautical engineering, which he completed in 1988. His doctoral thesis was titled Sensor and Actuator Selection for Fault-Tolerant Control of Flexible Structures, and he dedicated it to his late father. His thesis was supervised by Richard Batten, the primary designer of the guidance computer for the Apollo program. The man who helped design the navigation system that took humans to the moon personally mentored William Neil McCasland. Let that sink in. What kind of mind does a man need to have to be mentored by someone like that? Drop a comment below. Do you think the kind of mind this man had could simply disappear without a very powerful reason? His early career is where things start to get truly fascinating and quietly alarming. After graduate school, McCasland was placed into the Payload Systems Division within the Secretary of the Air Force Office of Special Projects, based at Los Angeles Air Force Base. This is not a department you find in any brochure. Special Projects. Already, right from the beginning of his career, McCasland was operating in the shadows of the military world, working on things most people are not cleared to even know the names of. Colleagues and observers from that era would later note that McCasland stood out as a lower-ranking officer who was given enormous leadership responsibilities for highly classified development units. He was, by all accounts, present at what has been described as the very birth of Air Force satellite reconnaissance as it exists today. America's ability to watch any point on Earth from space, the satellite surveillance systems that changed the nature of intelligence gathering forever. McCasland helped build that. As a young lieutenant, ask yourself, why would someone with that level of access and that level of knowledge simply vanish from Albuquerque, New Mexico, in February 2026? Think carefully. Something is very wrong here. By 1992, McCasland had moved to Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado, where he served as Director of Mission Planning for the Aerospace Data Facility, a facility deeply connected to the National Reconnaissance Office, the agency that operates America's spy satellites. He commanded operations there through 1997. After that, he returned to Los Angeles Air Force Base as chief engineer of the Navstar GPS Joint Program Office, the controlling authority for the entire global positioning system that every smartphone, every aircraft, every ship, and every missile guidance system on Earth depends on. He was the chief engineer for GPS, for the whole thing, the system that makes the modern world function. And you have never heard his name before today, have you? That is not an accident. That is exactly what a career in classified programs looks like. Invisible, silent, and extraordinarily powerful. In 2000, McCasland took control of the Space-Based Laser Project Office at Los Angeles Air Force Base. Space-based lasers. This is real technology. Weapons in orbit. Energy weapons being tested and developed for use from space. And McCasland was running the program. The following year, he moved to Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, the same state where he would later vanish, serving as Materials Wing Director for the Air Force Research Laboratory Space Vehicles Directorate and commander of the Phillips Research Site. Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico is one of the most secretive and technologically advanced military installations in the United States. And McCasland was running a significant part of it. What do you think goes on at a place like that? What kind of research, what kind of programs, what kind of discoveries? Comment below. What do you think the most secret research being done at places like Kirtland involves? Then came perhaps the most consequential assignment of his entire career. In 2009, McCasland was promoted to Director of Special Programs within the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics. Read that title again. Director of Special Programs, under the Secretary of Defense. This position made McCasland the Executive Secretary of something called the Special Access Program Oversight Committee, known as SAPIC. And here is where every single hair on the back of your neck should stand straight up. SAPIC is the oversight and review body with full purview of all of America's most sensitive and secretive knowledge, capabilities, and programs. Every single classified program, every single black budget operation, everything that is so secret it does not officially exist. McCasland sat at the center of all of it. He was not just cleared for some of these programs. He was the man who oversaw the oversight of every single one of them. This man knew things that presidents were not told. This man had access to information that most four-star generals never touch. And on February 27th, 2026, he was reported missing. Do you understand why this matters? Do you understand what it means when a man like this disappears? In 2011, McCasland was given his final active duty command, the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, a position he held until his retirement in October 2013 after 34 years of service. The Air Force Research Laboratory is one of the largest scientific research centers in the entire Department of Defense. Billions of dollars in advanced materials sciences, future weapons research, cutting-edge aerospace technology, energy research, directed energy, materials that do not yet exist in commercial science. McCasland ran all of it. He was the 7th commander of AFRL. And when he retired, he did not exactly leave the world of defense technology behind. After retirement, McCasland became Director of Technology at Applied Technology Associates, an Albuquerque, New Mexico-based company, which is a subsidiary of Blue Halo, a defense conglomerate that works in space warfare, directed energy, missile defense, cyber operations, and command and control systems. He stayed in Albuquerque. He stayed connected to defense technology. He stayed connected to the most powerful military-industrial systems in the world. And then he disappeared, right there in Albuquerque, the city where he lived, the city where he worked, the city where, just a few years earlier, he had also been stationed at Kirtland Air Force Base. Here is a question I want you to answer in the comments. Do you think it is a coincidence that the man who knew the most about America's classified programs disappeared in the same city, connected to some of the most secretive military research in American history? Now let's talk about what happened on February 27th, 2026, because the details of this disappearance are both sparse and deeply unsettling. McCasland was 68 years old. He has documented medical conditions. Conditions serious enough that the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office issued a Silver Alert, which is a public notification system used to locate missing seniors or individuals with Alzheimer's, dementia, or other medical conditions. Law enforcement stated directly, and I want you to hear this. They said, due to his medical issues, law enforcement is concerned for his safety. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office is leading the investigation. But they're not alone. The FBI's Albuquerque field office is also involved, and the FBI spokesperson was careful with their words. They said the FBI is involved because it is standard practice for the FBI to assist local law enforcement partners if we have a tool, tactic, or a technique that could benefit their investigations. Standard practice. But is it really standard practice for the FBI to immediately involve itself in the disappearance of a 68-year-old retired general? What does the FBI's involvement tell us something about who this man is, what he knows, and what the stakes really are? Now here's where this story takes a turn that most media coverage has not followed closely enough. And leave a comment. Seriously, tell me, what is the piece of this puzzle you think we are all missing? What connection, what detail, what question has this video raised in your mind that you cannot shake? The comments on this channel are some of the sharpest discussions on the internet, and I read every single one of them. Now, I said I would tell you what comes next. And here is the truth. I do not know. And that is exactly what makes this the most important kind of case we can cover. When a man with William Neil McCasland's career profile disappears, the investigation is never simple. It is never fast, and it is almost never fully public. The systems of secrecy that he helped build, the classification structures he oversaw, with the kind of attention that a 68-year-old man who dedicated his life to his country and his greatest work to the memory of his father deserves to have paid to his story. Subscribe now, because the next video in this story is already being built. And when it drops, you're going to want to have seen this one first. There's a detail about McCasland's time at Kirtland Air Force Base. A detail connecting his work there to research that even most defense analysts do not talk about publicly. That changes everything about how you think about who this man really was and what he may have known at the time he disappeared. That video is coming, and I can tell you right now, it will be one of the most important things this channel has ever produced. Make sure you are here for it. Subscribe, like this video, share it with someone who needs to know this story, and stay right here, because at the last trace, the story never ends until the truth is found.